If you allow your listing agent who's selling your home to represent you and your buyer, your agent's hands are tied. Your agent cannot even discuss price with your buyer or with you. And isn't that what you hired your agent for, to negotiate for the best price for your property? Probably so. I doubt that it was your goal to double your agent's commission by letting the agent represent you and the buyer. It wasn't your goal to get a mediocre price that made the buyer feel good, but wasn't the best price for you either. And it certainly wasn't your goal to risk a lawsuit over double agency. Since you want the maximum number of agents to bring possible buyers competing for your home without double agency, here's a twist. You don't want to list with a large company. Seems a little backwards, doesn't it? If you want full representation by your listing agent, you must not agree to double agency. If you continue listening on and understand why you must not get involved with double agents, you will see why one of the worst things you can do is to eliminate all the buyers represented by the big agencies in the area. For example, if there are 200 agents in the company that list your home, 200 of them, yes, 100% of them, including your own listing agent, would have a double agent conflict of interest. If any of them brings you a buyer, so even though few sellers consider this, it's true. If any of them brings you a buyer, it's a problem. Don't list with a big company. It will reduce the number of buyers you can safely operate with. I will loop back to this idea later, but for now, let's look at some other truths. Here's the smart move for you when you're ready to sell your home. Even though you may like the personality of a newer agent you may know, maybe from church or from work or wherever, the point is when you're selling your home is to get the highest price possible through the most experienced negotiator you can find to represent you. The National Association of Realtors says that 85% to 90% of agents are out of business in 2 to 5 years. Though the huge majority of the over 3 million USA real estate agents are newbies. You do want any one of them to represent your buyer, but you want a seasoned veteran for the sale of your home. This is not an even match, and that's why it's a good thing for you that I'm a 47-year veteran broker with experience in real estate brokerage and custom home building. I am also a certified master negotiator and a certified probate expert. You need me on your side when you sell. But wait, there's more. You need to stop buyer backouts. The time to get top dollar is when your home first comes on the market and buyers are feverishly competing with each other to win your home for themselves. If you accept an offer and take your home off the market and your buyer then backs out, you may end up with a significantly lower future price from a replacement buyer. Having an experienced broker like myself represent you is a good start towards avoiding buyer backouts. But even that, and even being a master negotiator, is not enough. So, I have a proprietary program called Nail the Sale. There are a number of elements of Nail the Sale, but one of the major ones, besides the obvious, very careful vetting of your buyer's loan qualifying, is that we do the home inspection and disclosures up front before your home goes on the market. And then, and now this is crucially important, the inspection report and the disclosures become a part of the signed written contract with the buyer from the very beginning. The usual way of handling inspection is just sign up the buyer and then have the inspections done afterwards. The problem is it's easy in this situation for the buyer to back out. Not with your buyer, though. It will already be agreed between you and the buyer that any defects are either, number one, okay, or else you two have agreed that how to correct any of the defects will be the responsibility of who. In other words, who's responsible for doing what. My contract also allows you, without any approval from the buyer, to do things that you are not obligated to do if keeping your buyer in the harness, so to speak, makes it worthwhile for you to do it. As already discussed, double agency, where your seller agent also represents a buyer, is a total no-go. The only thing double agency is good for is for doubling the commission of the agents who's doing the double agency. I participated in a pre-planned debate yesterday or the day before with agents who think double agents are just fine, even though they can't discuss price with the seller or the buyer. It was a laughable debate where the main benefit came out was it's the double commission to the seller's agent that makes double agency attractive to them. That's bad news for both you as a seller and the buyer, and it's a good way to get into a long and expensive lawsuit. The courts are very skeptical about double agents, so don't get in a double agent lawsuit because you'll likely lose. When I'm selling your home, I give a buyer coming direct to me two choices, and neither one of those two choices involves me trying to represent the buyer along with you. I only represent you. Choice number one, if the buyer signs off in writing that I do not in any way represent them and that they have no other agent, then they get a 1% home buyer cashback from me, but no representation from me because I only represent you. Many buyers who have been around the block a number of times don't feel that they need an agent to buy a house anyway, and they're happy to take the home buyer cashback instead. Choice number two, the buyer can pick a different real estate company to represent him or her and submit their offer to that other company. This way eliminates double agent conflict altogether. If you think about it, this is another reason not to pick a large real estate company to list your home with, unless you're foolish enough to allow your broker to represent you and your buyer. You have eliminated all the other agents in the large company, any one of which might have had a great buyer for you. When I represent you, I am the broker and the only agent in my company. So all the hundreds of other agents and other companies can bring you a buyer with none of the conflicts of interest that come up in a double agent situation. Don't forget, even if the large company broker doesn't represent your buyer personally, it's the same if one or two agents under that broker does represent your buyer. And another, of course, represents you. Since I am both the owning broker and your direct agent, this creates another advantage of using a small but expert company to sell your home. Specifically, I don't have an in-house newbie agent to pay out 80% of the commission to. I expertly represent you myself, so I can discount your commission by 25% without any disadvantage to you because I have nobody else in the company to pay commission to. So you save right from the start. As you can see, I do not see myself as a cheerleader for your sale. No, I am your dedicated and single-purpose agent out to get you the very best price and keep it together. So if there's a cluster of offers when your home first comes on the market, I use a Zoom bid-off to let the cluster of buyers bid against each other, each having full knowledge of the price being offered by the other bidders. Like everything else I do for you, I don't leave this to chance either. Our lender will have already reviewed each buyer's qualification when they submitted their original offer. So we know if the buyers can qualify for the little higher bid. What's more, I don't wait for the buyers to get cold feet after the bidding is done. No, I use DocuSign to get an online signature from the best buyer right then when they bid, so it's a done deal, with no chance for buyer second thoughts. Well, we've gone over a lot of the ins and outs of selling your home for the highest price possible and keeping it sold while staying out of lawsuits. Let me summarize briefly some of the main points to make it easy for you to put it all together. Number one, don't entrust your home sale to a dual agent or to a junior newbie with a nice smile but limited experience. Use a pro. Stop buyer backouts by getting inspections and disclosures up front. And then, and this is crucial, including the inspection report and the disclosures as part of the signed contract the buyer is agreeing to when the contract is signed. Most agents leave this to chance, allowing the buyer to easily back out just because of relatively minor defects that the buyer uses as an excuse to back out. Never agree to let your agent or another agent in the same company legally represent your buyer too. That's dual agency, no matter if it's one agent, the broker and an agent, or two separate agents. Dual agency reduces your chance of getting the best price and increases your chance of a lawsuit. This also means you should pick a small company to list your home. This way, all of the agents in the larger companies can bring buyers without double agent problems. Let all of them represent buyers who might be interested in your home so they can all put in offers with no conflicts of interest. Don't exclude tons of agents with buyers by listing with a large company, because those agents will become dual agents if you're foolish enough to allow it. And if you don't allow it, then they can't bring you an offer. So use a small company like my own. Get up to a 25% discount on the cost of selling your house. I can do this because I don't have to pay an in-house agent. I am your agent as well as the company broker. Use an online bid-off to get the highest possible price if buyers are already competing with each other. And that's it. Don't use a large company to list your home. There's no real advantage in a large company when you're listing your home, but there's a huge disadvantage if you eliminate hundreds of the agents in a large company or end up working with double agents who think they're referees rather than a dedicated listing agent. Don't forget, agents from the same company are legally barred even discussing price with you and your buyer. No double agents ever. For more information, go to nailyourhomesale.com. That's nailyourhomesale.com. I'm Terry Hunter, and I look forward to speaking to you in person.